So, if you didn't hear, or if you were living under a rock or something, there was an event a couple of weeks ago, maybe not a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was a week ago, but there was an event where Tominaga, the producer for Bleach and the new producer for Pierrot films, they were at an event with a bunch of Shonen Jump representatives, with a bunch of Pierrot representatives. And the object, we didn't know back then, but the object of that meeting was so they could give insight into the inner dealings of how the anime process works. And they actually gave a very, very cool breakdown of the entire anime process of how we go from inception to storyboarding to animation, all those things, to give you the anime that you know of. We were hoping that we might have gotten a bit of Bleach Core 3 news at that event. We did not. However, during that entire sequence, during that entire live stream, they referred to Taguchi using a different word than we usually know. Instead of referring to Taguchi as the Sears director or the director, they started calling him a new phrase. They started calling him the chief director or the general director. This obviously prompted a lot of questions in the Bleach community, including myself. Why are they referring to Taguchi as a different title other than the series director? Why are they calling him something different? Why are they calling him general director or chief director? It's weird. After doing the research and everybody different, honestly, believe me, it gives me no solace to bring this news to you because I wanted so bad for that not to be the case. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of everything because I do think that there is a 4D chess move at play here if they stick the landing. However, you know as well as I'm a fan of Taguchi. I did not want to have to bring any kind of bad news to you guys in reference to anything revolving Tomohisa Taguchi. However, the fact of the matter is, they previously used to refer to him by a certain word. They would call him the series director or the director. Now they're calling him something different. Now they're calling him the chief director or the general director. And so that prompts us, okay, so let's figure out, what is this chief director? What is this general director thing all about? Based on the research that I've done in speaking to the people that I've spoken to, I will first preface and say that nothing is confirmed. That's one thing I will always champion. We wait until we get full confirmation. We will get confirmation once we get the entire staff listing when they show us a sneak peek, hopefully July 6th coming up. But until then, I'm not going to assume that it's final because it's not. However, theoretically, hypothetically, if you were to look at what this general director thing might mean, it lends itself to the possibility that Tomohisa Taguchi has been promoted, but at the same time, it's not exactly a promotion. And so the way that it typically works, as far as I understand, is that you got your dude on top, your director, who, hey, he's in charge of interpreting the source material and his vision for the IP and everything of that nature. And in a certain way, he's also responsible for his ability to procure talent, even though I personally put that more on the producer and the PA and whatnot. But it also, to a certain degree, he is responsible for a lot of things because he's the director. He's in charge of other people. It's not exactly a one-to-one, whatever he wants happens, because he's also influenced by whoever's above him with the bosses up Pierrot. He can only do so much. But in a general sense, you are responsible for what it is that you're taking care of. And so any instance where we get any kind of news that says, oh, you've now been taken from being directly in charge of each episode and each guy who's doing this and who's doing that. Now that we say that, oh no, we're going to give you a new position and we're going to make you a general director. And in this general director position, you're not in the down and dirty day-to-day stuff. You're just like the general director. It's a mixed bag. I don't know exactly how I want to feel about it. And on a certain level, I think, hey, this could be good, which I'll talk about in just a second. On another level, I think that they just demote him, but they were just nice about it. So it's yeah, can you just go over there and then we'll do what we're doing. This brings up a very important question. This brings up an important question about what we feel about the quality of Thousand Year Blood War so far, because it's very complicated. This causes us to have to ask a question about Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War Core 1 and Core 2 so far, and whether or not it's been good or not good up to this point. Because here's the fact. The fact of the matter is, Thousand Year Blood War anime has done a lot right, but at the same time, they've done a lot wrong. Not all of the wrong is their fault. Not all of the wrong is the director's fault. Not all of the wrong is Kubo's fault. But they have done quite a bit wrong in terms of the impact that it could have made. Because coming into Core 1, obviously, we were very excited about Thousand Year Blood War. It's great. Kubo was attached to it. We're getting a completely new vision. The vision, for the most part, was very well accepted by the anime community at large. And Core 1, overall, I'd say Core 1 was a success. There were some really, really dour moments, which made us very nervous, and we tried to give them the benefit of the doubt because overall, Core 1 was unequivocally a success. Unfortunately, in Core 2, some of those fears came to the fore. Some of those fears manifested themselves right in front of us, which caused a bit of an issue in that animation is really, really, really scarce in the Thousand Year Blood War project. Which, again, it's not all one person's fault. I'm sorry if you want me to just blame one person. It's never that simple. Pierrot has some people to blame. Tominaga has some people to blame. Taguchi has some people to blame. The entire anime industry and the fickleness and the scarcity of key animators going around, everyone has a piece of the pie that they have to accept as their share of what is a serious problem. But the fact of the matter is, Core 2, I love Core 2. The fact of the matter is, as an entertainment medium in an animation space, Bleach sacrificed, or I don't even want to say sacrificed, Bleach did not bring a lot of that to the table. And for a long time, I wrestled with what outlook I wanted to have on it, whether, we didn't have Bleach for so long. Do we deserve to be mad about them? Do we deserve, look, under any circumstances, I am not an advocate of sending any kind of bad messaging to the staff people because they are doing literally everything they can. If it's not working, it's not them. All right. Even somebody as, if it's somebody as universally unliked like a Murata, I would never say go and DM Murata and say something mean to him. No, blame whoever is above him who's hiring him because he shouldn't be in the position that he's in. But here's my point. My point is, whatever was happening before, it wasn't working. Which is, I know that sounds brutal, but it's true. The signs, when you see the symptoms of a problem, you have to take action. Bleach was symptomatic of what would have been a failure if they did not act. I do not want to admit it, but it's true. It's true. Everything has pros and cons. Everything has things that are good about it, things that are bad about it. I get it. In this instance, Bleach was symptomatic of a very serious problem. The lack of animation, the lack of expressiveness, the lack of risk-taking in so many ways is crippling how good it could be. And if left unattended, it could grow into a problem that stifles the amount of money that Bleach could make, the amount of impact that Bleach could make, and the amount of enjoyment that anime fans of Bleach could make. And I believe, I don't know this for sure, I'm not a scooper, I'm not an insider. What I believe here is that members of the production team and the powers that be, they realized that. They had to, because they took action. Part of the action here, I'm going to say, are these two things, the two things that they seem to have done here. Number one is the establishment of Pierrot Films, which we talked about before. Now, Pierrot Films isn't exactly a new studio. It's not a new studio. It's just a subsidiary studio, and it's not necessarily even new anyway. This isn't a new concept. It happened before. It's happened with many other anime. It happened with Kingdom and a bunch of other shows out there. But it does seem speculative. It does seem like Tominaga, who's our producer, has struck up whatever kind of deal that he was able to strike up and has sanctioned a bit of his work, because I think Osamatsu-san is also going to Pierrot Films as well, and they've sort of taken their place and they've gone over to the Pierrot Film side, and that's where they're hanging out right now. All right. What impact that will have is yet to be seen. Whether that means you're getting a completely new team is yet to be seen. How differently you'll be handled is yet to be seen. However, if we simply just go at and go by what they have said, because again, we don't have a lot to go off of. When we get a sneak peek, we'll judge. As of right now, we simply just go off what they give us. Based on what he said, he's trying to emulate a Demon Slayer. He's trying to emulate a Jujutsu Kaisen. He's trying to emulate works of that level. I'm sorry, if you want to get to the level of impact that, I don't, like Demon Slayer, honestly, is Demon Slayer even hitting right now? I'm not even sure. I don't really care about Demon Slayer right now, I'll be honest, but it's Ufotable. Ufotable always has that respect in the anime community. It just does. Mappa and Jujutsu Kaisen is a little bit of a different story. You're not getting on that level if you don't fix the issue you have with your animation. I'm sorry, it's just a fact. You are not fixing that problem if you don't do that. And so that's the first thing they did. They said, okay, we're going to seemingly shift Bleach to Pierrot Film, which is focused on adult rated, I don't want to use the word movie level because I don't think he literally said movie level, but high quality adult rated content, Pierrot films. Cool. The second thing they've seemingly done is this thing with Taguchi right here. They've then said to Taguchi that, bro, we're going to reposition you. We're not going to have you be a series director. We're going to have you be the general director or the chief director. Now, this isn't new. This is not the first time it's happened. Tatsuya Yoshihara, which, I'm sorry about that. Wait, no, his name is not Tatsuya Yoshihara. The Black Clover director, I know it's Yoshihara. I don't know what his first name is, but Yoshihara was the director for Black Clover for much of Black Clover's run. At a certain point during the last arc, I've forgotten what it's called. The one with the demons. Not demons. Or are they demons? Like the underworld dudes. Like the last arc of Black Clover before it went on hiatus. Yoshihara was upgraded from a series director to a general director, just like Taguchi, quote, presumably is now. All I know about that Black Clover final arc, it's not the final arc, but the last arc we saw in Black Clover, I can confirm that arc was a lot better animated than the prior ones. But then again, it is Yoshihara, and Yoshihara has connections. He's not like, Taguchi's not on a Yoshihara level of connections. He's just not. So we can't really correlate the two too much. But what I'm trying to say is, this thing that's happening right now, it has happened before. Certain directors get upgraded to from series director to chief director. And what that means is, presumably, you have less of an impact. Maybe I don't want to say less of an impact. You're not as hands-on, specifically have your hands in the episodes as much as you did before. Now you're the general director. And so presumably it would be your footage. I mean, not your footage. It would be your vision. It would be your interpretation. You're the one who's working with the source material. You're the one who's working with the script writers on where we're going to go. In a way, it kind of shifts you into a creative position. And so this is where I'm going to hit on the pros and cons of this. So let's talk about the cons. The cons here is that if the powers that be deemed it necessary to reposition Tomohisa Taguchi from a series director to anything else, I don't care what it is, whether he's going down or up, I don't care. If they make the decision to change what you are, that makes me wonder if they think you're doing a good enough job. And there is a possibility that they believe that your current skill set isn't suited for what we're looking for. That's very hard for me to admit. That's very hard for me to even fathom. But it might be true. I'm sorry to I'm a fan of Taguchi. I'm a Bleach fan first. All right. If he's sabotaging us in any way, kick bro to the curb. I want Bleach to succeed. Here's the fact though. It seems that if this is true, speculative, we don't know for sure, we will confirm it later on. If it's true, this means, or it could be interpreted as, hey, they don't think that Taguchi is the man for the job in that specific position. And so they're saying, hey, in order to maximize your abilities and what you're good at, we're going to reposition you. Cool. So technically, that could be seen as a bad thing. What could be seen as a good thing in the inverse here is that Taguchi is an excellent storyboarder. He's a great interpreter of events. He's a great interpreter and he has a deep understanding of the source material. He's a huge advocate for having Kubo be involved in the process. He's a huge advocate for expanding the source material and filling out the blanks that weren't there before. Whether you're on the side of, well, Kubo was going to be there anyway, or Taguchi's the one who brought him, I don't know. I don't care. We will never know. So the point is, Taguchi's presence seems to have aided in Kubo's involvement in us getting more plot character related inclusions. What seems to be the downside of a Taguchi production here is the amount of skilled animators that you can get. And so that's a problem. What do you, if I'm speaking to you right now, what are you willing to trade? Would you rather an incredibly animated Bleach without any of the story changes? Or would you take a mediocre animated Bleach but with a ton of story changes? Whichever side you're on, I'll let that be for you. For a long time, I'll be honest, for a long time, I was on the side of, yo, give me the story plot changes and I'll accept it. In recent times, after JJK Season 2 hit, I changed my mind. Because I was like, actually, no. Stop hitting the microphone. I was like, actually, no. Watching Mahoraga versus Sukuna, I was like, you know what, screw it. Screw whatever Soul King backstory you have. Screw anything. After watching Luffy fight against Kaido in the One Piece anime and seeing like Akihiro Ota hand off to this anime or hand off to this anime. I'm just watching there. I'm like, oh my, whoa, no. Screw Ichigo's Bankai. I would trade not knowing Ichigo's Bankai to get animation of that quality. I'm sorry, I would. It doesn't mean we're gonna get it, but I changed my mind. I was like, no, give me that animation. I'm sorry. Increase the spectacle we currently have, and I'll deal with everything else. And so that's just, unfortunately, outside of movies and Akudama Drive, which had probably like a completely different level to Bleach. Akudama Drive. Akudama Drive was well animated. It's not on the same level as a Bleach production. It would seem that outside of the movie space in Akudama Drive, Taguchi's animation props they just aren't the same as other directors. And so here's where we get into the legitimate prediction speculative part. Like, legitimately, I'm going to pose something to you. I do not know that this is the case. I do not know that this is going to happen. I'm simply posing this to you. What if the powers that be of Pierrot woke up and said, all right, look, character-wise, we're doing very well. Story-wise, we're doing very well. Aesthetic-wise, we're doing very well. Like, there's a lot of good that's going on here. We need to up our animation. We need to up the quality of the literal medium. And so, Taguchi, we're not going to fire you because we appreciate the good that you can do, but we're going to upgrade you. You're now a general director or a chief director. And so you're still overseeing everything, but let's not rely on your ability to draw talent. Let's not rely on your ability to do all that stuff. And, maybe he's good, but he's not really good at siphoning through everybody. Like, maybe he's good, but he's not good at getting a lot of people to do a lot of things at the same time and keeping it at the same quality. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it is. Anyway, they're like, all right, how about you go and we're going to input a new series director. And that series director is more fitting for the brute force, cycling through multiple things at the same time and more connections maybe. We're going to get a director like that for that position, which then, in theory, again, there's no news has come out that this is the case. I'm just speculating as to if this is the 4D chess move they're trying to do. That's all I'm doing. If they say, Taguchi, you go be a creative upstairs and still oversee everything, but you're a creative, let's get somebody here as a series director who's better fit to do the brute force nature of getting people to get their things on time, of having enough connections to reach out to people to do it for them and get it out like that. And so to put in a different way, what if Bleach gets a creative like Taguchi, but an animation connection guy like a Yoshihara? I'm not saying we're getting Yoshihara. I'm saying the kinds of people, because there are different kinds of directors that exist in anime. You have your super duper like creative directors who care about the characterizations and the aesthetic and and then you have your other directors who's just straight up animation galore. Like your Yoshihara, like the guy who's doing One Punch Man season 2, like all those other guys who, for them, when they like Kano, when they get on an IP, they're bringing animation. And there's some directors, when they get on an IP, you're getting like really, really intense characterizations and just direction of the source material. Maybe the powers that be at Pierrot say, Taguchi, you're really good at this other creative other stuff, but maybe you're not so good at doing this brute force animation style system. And so we're going to leave you to focus on those things. And we're going to get somebody in as a new series director who's better suited for getting us connections, for getting us those things. Speculative. I don't know for sure. I'm just saying. So we will see. Once we get a sneak peek and we're able to view the staff listing, we'll be able to know whether Pierrot Films has given Bleach a completely new staff. We'll be able to know who the presumably new series director is, and we'll be able to ascertain what we're going to do after that. I'll tell you this though, if it's Murata, I don't know what I'm going to do if it's Murata, honestly. I'm going to be pissed. If it's Murata, I'm going to be pissed. I'm sorry. I'm going to be angry if it's Murata. He does not deserve that position. Do not give it to him. Do not even think about giving it to him. Don't do it. All right. That's single-handedly going to doom Bleach for the future. It just is. Honestly, it's like Masashi Kudo. I'm going to put it out there. I know Masashi Kudo is busy. He would be perfect. because I believe part of the reason why people love the Fullbring arc so much, the animation style of the Fullbring arc, Masashi Kudo did a lot in the Fullbring arc. He was all over in terms of as an animation director and everything. He was there in leaps and bounds. I think a combination of a Kudo, a Kubo, and a Taguchi, that will bring us some really, really epic stuff. But then again, Kudo is really, really busy, so I'm not sure. Other than that, like, bro, go grab one of the OG Bleach guys from the Abe era. All right, go grab one of the guys who saw what Bleach was like back then. Grab one of those. Or again, if they have a new guy in mind, sure. Ultimately, this is just speculation. We won't know until we actually see it. Luckily for us, on July 6th, July 6th, we're going to get a sneak peek into Bleach Core 3. Hopefully at the end of that, we get a staff listing so we can see exactly what the changes are. I'm very, very, very interested to know who is going to be the new series director if indeed Taguchi has been moved to a new position. All right. JJK Season 2 made me shiver. I'm sorry. I was all up in the Bleach, in the so-called, like, all right, we're just going to watch Bleach and we'll get some extra information on Ichigo and everything. I'm sorry. After seeing Jujutsu Kaisen part, season 2, I threw all that out. Give me animation. I don't care. Give me animation. Give me animation. Thousand Year Blood War has problems, but the problems aren't so bad that I'm willing to trade that for elite level animation. Like, I wouldn't do it. I think it's not worth it. We didn't see Ichigo's Bankai. Are you really gonna care? Like, I'll be for real. Would you care that Ichigo's Bankai still gets broken if instead of what we got in the manga, they gave you a MAPPA-esque 20-minute battle sequence between Yuha and Ichigo, but his Bankai gets broken in the end? You tell me you're not taking that? Because I know I am. I'm taking that. I'm taking that all day, every day. Tokinata says, Akudama had 3 years of production. Okay, so that he had a lot of time to get things right. Makes sense. The quality showed. Let me see. Taguchi has no connections. He doesn't have no connections. He doesn't have as much connections as these other shows for a brute force show like Bleach. I would assume. Let's talk about Yoshihara, not the animator Yoshihara, but Hiroyuki. Wait, I'm sorry. His name is not even Yoshihara. Nakano. I'm tripping. His name is Nakano. Okay, so last week, June 19th, actually not that far ago, but on June 19th, we got word that Tatsuya, okay, why is Tatsuya Yoshihara in my mind so much? Like, geez, I must want to for Bleach really bad. I'm sorry. Hiroyuki Nakano. He's the editor-in-chief for Weekly Shonen Jump, and he is stepping down, which is sad because I think he was previously Kubo's actual editor, and I don't know if we want to credit him specifically with Bleach coming back. I'm not sure. I forgot his name, but like the guy who was in charge before Nakano, I feel like that guy had a hate boner for Bleach. I don't remember if it was Nakano who was there during the time, but I should have confirmed this before I went on live. But I feel like the guy before him had like a hate boner for Bleach, which was really annoying. It was really, really annoying. And we had a really, really good string of times with Hiroyuki Nakano, who he's Team Kubo. He was Team Kubo. He's helped us get a lot of Bleach content out there. And so now that he's stepping down, he's being replaced by a new dude. Let me see. What's the name of this new guy? This new guy is... So the new person is now Yu Saito, who is set to head up Weekly Shonen Jump. And he's the one who was the editor for hits like Kuroko no Basuke and Nisekoi. Look, I'm not going to dabble on this for too long because we don't have as much information here. But I really like Nakano. At the same time, like if you guys feel the same way, like Weekly Shonen Jump doesn't hit the same anymore. Like My Hero Academia is going to end soon. Akutami's health is wavering. He's going to end Jujutsu Kaisen soon. I think they don't really have, like, I love Sakamoto Days. I think it's great. And I don't know if Kagurabachi is a Weekly Shonen Jump production. My point is, there was a time before where Shonen Jump would pull up and they got Kuroko no Basuke, they had Haikyuu, they had Bleach, Naruto, One Piece. Like, bro, there was a time they would pull up and they had all the boys, all the dudes. It was insane. Now, just not hitting the same anymore. So I don't know if that's the reason why Nakano's stepping down, because maybe he feels he can't hack it anymore. I'm not too sure. I don't think that's the case. I don't think you pass up a job like with Weekly Shonen Jump unless you absolutely have to. But this new guy, I have no information on him. I don't know, like being the guy who was in charge of Kuroko no Basket. Now look, if this is gonna get us some more Kuroko no Basket content, I'm not gonna complain. If this is gonna get us more Nizuka content, I'm not gonna complain. I actually like Nizuka as a story. I was team Onodera. I was team Onodera. I wasn't really vibing with Chitoge Kirisaki, and not really. I was Onodera, but unfortunately he didn't pick her. Stupid boy. Whatever. That's my, you know how mad the Ichirukis are at Ichigo picking Rukia? That's my Ichiruki moment, is him picking Kirisaki and not picking Onodera, but whatever. I hope that this guy understands how important Bleach is. Obviously, they're not like, Bleach anime is back. They're not stopping that. Whatever production was in the pipeline, which we have not heard about, whether there was a game coming out, whether there was a movie coming out, whatever the case, like that's done. You know, the Bleach 20th anniversary project, which we will be getting more information on this July and into the forthcoming futures, those are done. Like, you're not taking that away. It's done. Still, though, I want more Burn the Witch. I want more Bleach Hell Arc. I hope this guy doesn't come in and throw his weight around and fuck with that. I want Burn the Witch. I want Bleach Hell Arc. It's sold incredibly well, dude. You need the eyes on your product. Kubo is the eyes on your product, okay? Like, you got, like, what Togashi Yoshihiro is doing, give that to Kubo. Like, obviously, Kubo has a lot more on his plate because he's doing a lot of Bleach anime stuff. He's literally doing storyboards and drawing literal panels. So he's really busy. But outside of that, when he's done with that, whenever that is, give Kubo Togashi's schedule. You know how Taguchi just shows up randomly and starts posting the page numbers and just everybody goes crazy? Yeah, Kubo, that's what he's got to do. Same with Burn the Witch. Periodically come, give you a string of 4 or 5 chapters with many pages or whatever, and we just go that way. That's what you need. Do not, there is no reason for you to screw with a profitable show like Bleach. Don't do it. Just don't do it. All right, let me see what you guys say about this. I don't have a lot on this story. I just wanted to hit on it for a second. So let me see what you guys say. We are going to, for this last section, I wanted to go through the Q&As that Kubo answers. Not all of them, but some of them. I wanted to have a time where I could go through them. And, you know, we'll read some of the questions. We'll see what Kubo's answers are, and we might talk about it somewhat. And then I'll call it a day after that. So, all right. So for the record, we're going to be starting from the beginning. I'm actually going to start these questions from the very, very beginning. So how many questions do we have to go through if I want to get all the way up to the present? I think, how many questions? I got to get through 519 questions. We are not doing all that today. It's just a section. It's just a section of the episode that we will always have when I do this. All right. So question number 1. All right, here we go. Question number 1, this is a long time ago. A reader asked, is there any chance of you introducing yet to be revealed Zanpakuto or Bankai in any shape or form in the future? Kubo's answer, if I can find a medium that is recognized by many readers and given an appropriate number of pages to work with, then I would like to do that someday. This was way back in 2021, and as we found, Kubo did do that with, seeing Bankais in Thousand Year Blood War. Although, an example of it being good is Senjumaru Shutara's Bankai. An example of it being done bad is Shinji Hirako's Bankai. That was forgettable. You remember when we saw that in the trailer? Everyone went crazy, like Shinji went Bankai, and then in the actual content of the episode, it was nothing. They were better off not even doing it at that point. Question number 19. Is there anything you find particularly hard to draw in terms of character elements? Kubo answers, in terms of character elements, drawing big boobs is always difficult. Oh, really? Really, Kubo? Also, during the weeks I used to draw Zalopera's release date, I was perpetually complaining about it while drawing. I see. Again, if it's a nothing question, I'm going to skip it because there's no reason to harp on it. Are the content and lore of the Bleach We Do Not Always Love You and Bleach Can't Fear Your Own World novels largely decided on by you? He says, I came up with and shared the contents and lore with the two writers, but left the portrayal to them. Whenever there was something they didn't understand along the way, they would come to consult with me. So there you go. I don't know if I've ever given you guys my opinion on Can't Fear Your Own World. Look, Can't Fear Your Own World has a lot of very important Bleach concept in it. Concepts that will become important in the core 3 and core 4 of the anime. But here's the fact. I've forgotten the author for Can't Fear Your Own World. He is not Kubo. He is not even close. Like he is not close to Kubo, right? When I read Kubo, Kubo's elite. That guy, not the same level. And so it's not as engaging for me. The content and the material that they're discussing and that they're grappling with is great. But I can't get behind the writing. The writing drags so much. I don't like it. Anyway, back in the Iranko arc, Gantenbein was hailed by Captain Unohana, but what became of him afterwards? Kubo says he is still alive. The god he was talking about is Baragon. So right now he is gathering other hollows that worship Baragon and building a small country. This is an interesting thing where if the Bleach, I don't know if the Bleach anime would even do this, but in general, after Aizen left, there was an absence of power within Wakamundo. Haribel is the new queen of Wakamundo. I would very much like to know how that came to be, because I would assume that Gantenbein went out and recruited some hollows who sided on the side of Baragon, even though Baragon wasn't there. And then you had Haribel, who is there. And then you have Grimmjow, who I would assume that Grimmjow wanted to be king. And so there might have been a civil war that ensued within the hollow spaces in Wakamundo. It would be very interesting to know. Gives us some insight on the things that the hollows were doing. All right. A question for you. Nemu's hair and clothing... Is choosing Nemu's hair and clothing part of Mayuri's hobbies, or does Nemu choose everything according to her tastes? Kubo's answer, rather than a hobby, Mayuri's changing them up to match his own style. Now, whether it suits her or not is another matter. This is true. So essentially, Nemu basically, I don't know if you guys realize, but like Nemu, she sort of changes her clothing depending on what Mayuri's wearing. Like when Mayuri had the light show, Nemu also had a light show. Which is cool. I like that. Is there any Bleach character that you were surprised to see become popular? Kubo's answer, I never would have imagined that Hisagi would become popular, but I'm glad he's gotten somewhat popular over the years. I want to talk about this. Yeah, this is something I can stop to talk about. All right, look. Shuei Hisagi is the perfect Bleach example of why I understand when some people insist that Bleach should have better animation. And I'll explain it to you this way. Look. Kubo is the one who came up with the look of Hisagi. Hisagi looks cool, but also Kubo is the one who came up with the narrative. Like it's in Hisagi's character being centered around fear in your own sword, and his relationship with Kaname Tosen, where Kaname says a warrior who does not fear his own blade doesn't deserve to draw it, and the inner dissent between a Hisagi who really appreciated and respected Kaname, but still understands that he's gone too far and ultimately is the one who kills him. All that's great. Like all that quality, character-rich stuff is awesome. But here's the fact. Shuei Hisagi quite probably has top 5 best animated fights in all of Bleach. Shuhei versus Findor is one of the most well-animated battles in all of Bleach history. It is not a surprise that a character who gets dealt that level of love animation-wise, coupled with the intense story and character-rich moments that Kubo gives him, ends up becoming a character that people end up loving. What am I basically saying with this? What I'm saying here is that more animation means more popularity. In general, more animation, more popularity. And when you combine more animation with elite source material, you get a combination that lives for years and years to come. Hisagi Shuhei would not be as popular as he is now if he didn't get Shuhei versus Findor. It would never have happened. It's because Shuhei versus Findor was so badass, was so well animated, was so well choreographed, coupled with Kubo's character elements. That's what made Hisagi so popular. And so moving forward, I'm like, I understand the people who get frustrated with Bleach Thousand Year Blood War, because like, look, it doesn't matter how great Kubo's storytelling is. If you're not able to interpret that in a medium that will appease the masses, it will not have the same level of impact. Episode 6 of Bleach does not hit the same if it's not as well animated as it was. That's just a fact. Ichigo vs. Yuho in episode 7 does not hit the same if it's not as well animated as it was. And as an inverse of that, Ichibe Hyosube versus Yuho Baha ended up not even making any waves because of the lack of intense animation compared to the others. I'm sorry. This is just facts. This is just a fact of the matter. If you want to make an impact, you have to find a way to combine elite level animation with elite level storytelling. If you can't do that, you're not going anywhere. You know, it's the same reason why, to me, I always make fun of all these like heavy animated shows, and then the Blu-rays come out and nobody buys them, because like having great animation will only get you to a certain point. You have to combine that with elite storytelling and great characterizations and things of that nature. And so you can have your Tengoku Daimyo, and people will LARP waxless on how great the animation is, but then the Blu-rays come out and it's not doing numbers. It's like, yeah, if you find a way to combine the two, it's great. It's great. King and Zoro. Right. King versus Zoro. That happened. Sanji versus Queen. That happened. Levi versus the Beast Titan. That, like, again, you guys get it. You guys get it. Those moments matter. An anime studio's perception and the way that they come towards creating a scene in a manga could make or break. Like, look, I'm sorry. This is the perfect example. Demon Slayer. Here's, like, because look, if your show is bad, no amount of great animation will save a terrible story. No amount of great animation is saving a terrible story. However, great animation will take a medium story and make it great. Demon Slayer episode 19. I promise you. Okay, look, maybe this is just my opinion. I felt very aware of Demon Slayer episode 1 and everything. They were all doing all their good stuff. I'm telling you, there was a switch. There was a switch from episode 18 to episode 19 where all of a sudden Demon Slayer went from here and exploded. Look, I'm sorry. I'm not going to say that this opinion I have is the same that everybody has. But for my experience on Demon Slayer's rise to popularity, episode 18 to 19, it went from here and went up here. Just with that one episode, it jumped. It got a bunch of mainstream tweets and like all the popular people talking about it, and it just spiked. And from there, it just kept going. If 19 didn't have that level of animation, if 19 did not have that level of animation, Demon Slayer's trajectory goes completely the other way, in my opinion. It needed that level. That's the amount of impact one great animation sequence can have for an entire show. And in the manga, it wasn't even that great. It wasn't even that great in the manga. And so, look, my message to everyone out there is like, Kubo can do all the work he wants to do. He can do all the great content and writing. You know I love Kubo. He can do all of that. I'm sorry. If you don't stick the animation landing, it's not gonna go far. It's just not. And it hurts me to say this, but it's true. It's true. There is an alternate universe out there where Kubo doesn't touch the Bleach Thousand Year Blood War anime at all. He doesn't touch it at all. And they simply go one for one with the manga, but they go a completely different animation route, and it's bigger, better, and better received than it is now. There is a world out there that happened. And I say, that world would have been the better world to be in, because it would have had more of an impact. Anyway, you get my point. Moving on. We're dropping some bangers in this. Episode 1 has a lot of bangers. I gotta say, there's a lot of bangers here. All right. Moving on. Grown Up Ichigo. I'm gonna go up to... Let me go up to 75 and then I'll stop. Grown Up Ichigo sure looks like his dad Ishin. Did he also inherit his hairy chest genes? I'm curious. Kubo says, I would like to believe in the power of Misaki's genes. Now look, I don't have a lot to say here. What I will say about this though, is that I enjoy the fact that Kubo went, like, because again, Ichigo had like a lot of bangs and whatever, and Kubo decided to go and give Ichigo the Ishin dad haircut instead, which, for the record, I'm a fan of. Like, Ichigo looks like Ishin, but with orange hair, basically. That's fine. I think that's fine. I actually prefer it, honestly. It makes him look more Shiba-like, which is important, because I would like Ichigo to lean more into his Shiba ancestry more and more and more. Which, honestly, one day we need to have a conversation about the importance of the Shiba household. Very, very important. But, anyway, moving on. Anyway, so yes, I'll catch you guys in the next video, okay? Look forward to it. Great episode 1 for the podcast. That's great episode 1. I'll bring you whatever latest news next week. Whatever news happens, I'll give it to you next week as well. So, this is your boy, signing out. Peace out.